Hi guys, welcome back to Deviate HQ. We're just going to talk through the new UDH that's launched. It's going to be available with frame sets that we're going to be selling and full builds. But more importantly, for existing customers of ours, you can upgrade to a new rear end. So that's what we're going to be here today to show you. Here is said rear end with the new UDH hanger. It's just going to be a short video showing you how to swap that over from the current frame set that you've probably got. It will come with the hanger installed in case obviously you're not running the new SRAM T-type and you're just going to be running a conventional Shimano or SRAM mechanical system of some sort. Right, tools for the job to get this new UDH rear end swapped over onto your bike. You are going to need grease to just re-lube those pivot points on the bike. We're using PT Speed grease attached to the Deviate grease gun, which you can buy on our online store. You're going to need some thread lock. We're using the blue Loctite 243. You will come supplied with a spare baggie of O-rings. These are sort of like sacrificial part when you're taking the pivot bolts out, because they can just sort of get snagged in the threads on the bolts. So you just need some new ones to put in. You're going to need a 6mm Allen key and a 8mm Allen key in this instance because the UDH hanger is not installed on the UDH rear end. You're also finally going to need a torque wrench, but that's more for just nipping up the bolts, making sure it's all good. Cool, so first step, obviously you don't have to strip your current bike down fully, like, you know, this is just a new frame, but you're probably going to want to remove all the gearing and brake lines out of the frame ready for the swap. So the first thing you'll do after that is you want to loosen these rear linkage to chainstay bolts. They are a 6mm. Will give a bit of resistance to get them off, but you'll soon feel that it all comes loose. And just pop those to one side. After you've done those two bolts, it is the main pivot bolt, which you'll need to do now. That again will be Loctited from factory, so it will have some resistance to just crack it off and get it undone. But once you've done it, it should come off fine. So once you've got it out, sort of like about 20mm or so, that is the thread run out. And so it is just a simple case of pulling that out. But on the top hats in these frames, there are little O-rings. They just give everything a nice tight fit to keep all of the grime and, you know, weather and mud and everything else that we ride through, to keep that out of the bearings, keep it all looking fresh and working smoothly. So sometimes these won't pull out and you might have to just get a little drift from the other side past the idler wheel and just lightly tap it out just to encourage it through those seals. Thankfully, yeah, this one's coming out with no problems at all. Just like that. So that is your main axle bolt out. Once you've done that, your frame will just fall apart, revealing the linkage. And in case you ever need it, that is your serial number for your rear end. So at this point, you can just remove the top hats from the main bearing. There's one on that side and one on that side there. Whilst you've got those off, it's a good opportunity to just check that your bearings are running smooth. The top hats that you'll have pulled out, inside there is an O-ring in there. They are a sacrificial part just because the tolerance of the thread as you put the bolts in and out, it can just chew those up. So we do supply with your new rear end a little baggie of O-rings. There's two for the main pivot, two bigger ones, sorry, for the main pivot, and then two smaller ones for the inside of the rear end on the chainstay. It is worth noting at this point that this rear end is black. This is a prototype rear end that we were sort of playing around with before we launched. Your rear ends will come in the colour of your bike. Right, so that is the disassembly complete. At this point, it's a good idea just put a little bit of grease on the inside of that O-ring before you push the top hat in. That's just a simple push fit. This can just make the bolts slide in a bit easier on reassembly. Just make it nice and smooth. And now we can offer up the rear end to the front end. At this point, it's best to just get an extra helping pair of hands. So I've got Jamie here to give me a hand. just to help offer it up so you can get down and actually line up, eyeball the bolt hole and make sure it's going to go in nice and smoothly. So sometimes the bolt can be a little bit stubborn just because of how tight all of those O-rings and seals are in there. So just grab a rubber mallet or a dead blow mallet and just gently tap it in once as long as you're sure that you've got it lined up, and just make sure that you're getting that in. Once it reaches the threads, just stop, reach for your thread locker. Again, this is the blue Loctite, and you can thread lock from this end. Grab your 6mm hanky and just start winding that in. So next thing you'll want to be doing is, I've already installed these ones, but you just want to make sure you've got your O-rings in with a little bit of grease, just to sort of make sure again that those bolts are going to slide in nice and easy as possible. So this is just a case of lining those up. So once we've got that lined up and you're sort of sure it's there or thereabouts, grab your 6mm and your swing arm link bolts and just sort of offer these up. Just start getting the thread going on one. And then that's just starting to take a thread. So now we'll go over and do the other side. And now that one's going as well. Just get these bolts in just past the head there, and then you want to come back, grab some thread lock and just put a small bit on each end on the back there, and then just come back in and finish tightening those up. And then once you've got that all assembled, time to reach for your torque wrench, and you'll need a 6mm head on it. Right, so we're going to do the main pivot bolt first. So we're just going to put this up to 30 Newton meters, and obviously depending on your torque wrench, just either wait for the buzz or the click. So we know that one's tight now. And then just take this back down to 20 Newton meters, and we'll just do both of the chainstay swing arm bolts. And that is your frame now assembled. Last thing to do is just to re-grease it all, make sure it's all good. So the Deviate grease guns, they come with a bend at the back of them, and this is so that you can get into these bottom ones here, just like that. So that's coming out the other side, as you can see there, nice and clean, so we know that all the internals there are nice and clean. With the main axle one, if you can feel resistance on it, that means that it's actually going in. So we're just going to go with another pump, and that is us all filled up nicely. That's your UDH rear end now installed on your Deviate frame. Hopefully that will help you get back out on the trails. For more tips and technical guides, stay tuned for future videos.